One special need that I want to emphasize in this talk is auditory training or auditory development. And there are four kinds of auditory training. One is called analytic or analytical, and this is a bottom-up approach. We're focusing on identifying a full range of speech features and phonemes by using minimal pair contrasts, like C and the and so forth, that I'd mentioned earlier. A synthetic type of auditory training is called top-down because the focus is understanding the message, not identifying speech features, but understanding the message using all available cues. So phonological, they recognize speech sounds. Syntax, they know what to expect in sentences because of the word order. Morphology, because they're familiar with word endings and so forth. Context and knowledge of the topic. You might just consider this language intervention therapy, but when we do it with an auditory emphasis, it's synthetic auditory training. A third type of auditory training is pragmatic. It's how we expect children to be successful in listening throughout the day. So this involves focusing on techniques to facilitate oral communication and repair communication breakdowns. The little clip art here kind of represents how the speech signal in a group of people overlaps, and the signal itself may be hard to recognize. And we know that children with cochlear implants and hearing aids do poorer in listening and understanding when situations get noisy, like in a classroom. And so what we do in pragmatic auditory training is teach techniques to avoid communication breakdowns. For example, I need to sit at the front of the room so I hear better and see my teacher better. I need to tell people that I have a hearing aid so they speak more clearly. I need to be assertive and move to a quieter position or place so that I can carry on a conversation. And if I need to repair a communication breakdown, then I'm going to use phrases that help my communication partner realize what went wrong. Things like, "Oh, I didn't hear you. Could you say it again?" Or, "I heard you say the dog ran into the street, but I missed what happened after it ran into the street." So those are skills that children develop by encouragement and direct teaching so that they have these strategies to communicate throughout the day in a variety of situations. And finally, the fourth approach is eclectic, in which we simultaneously apply all three of the previous approaches to an intervention session. So the child learns to hear the difference between speech features. They learn to listen to the whole message and interpret it appropriately. They are more assertive so that they can deal with problems that noise and background noise cause them. So eclectic means using all three. Let me give you an idea of some of the contrasts that can be used in auditory training. It can be as basic for a child who's just gotten a cochlear implant as hearing the presence of sound versus the absence of sound. So using the acoustic screen, I might hold it up to my face and say, "ah," and the child's hearing response would be to point to their ear and say, "I hear that," okay? The next time I put the screen up, I might not say anything, and in that case, the child's response should be a shake of the head or saying no, because there was no sound. Pretty basic. But kids need to become aware of the presence or absence of sound too. Sometimes it takes direct teaching. Next contrast could be one-syllable words versus three-syllable words, 2 versus 3. For example, 1 versus 3 could be milk versus lemonade, and repeating what they hear, or telling whether they're the same or they're different. Phonemically dissimilar words are words that have the same number of syllables, but none of the phonemes within the word are the same, like cat versus dog. So if you have a picture of a cat and a picture of a dog, you put up the acoustic screen, you say one or the other, the child should be able to point consistently to the one you have just said. And by the way, you know, that also involves I say it, the child also says it, and then they point. So they're practicing listening, speech production, and then they point. Vowel contrasts, consonant manner contrast, consonant voicing contrasts. All of these kinds of contrast may be needed by children who have cochlear implants. On the other hand, some children may do very well with certain contrasts, and they won't have to be practiced very long. It's important to do a pretest of children's ability in these contrasts, and then to chart their progress by tallying ones for correct identification and zeros for errors. So, as you can see, analytic auditory training is really easy to organize. It doesn't take a lot of time, and it has the advantage that it actually teaches children about the subtle differences between speech sounds. All right. So I mentioned assessing and getting a baseline of abilities. That's important for demonstrating progress and being accountable. So how do we do that? Well, for analytic tasks, we can have the percent of minimal pair words or speech feature contrasts that are correctly identified. And I've got a video clip here that I'll show you that shows how to do that. This is boat, and what's this?
Apple.
Okay, you know these words. Here we go. Apple. Boat. 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 Apple. Okay, this is next. Okay, 2 words. What are these? Feet.
Feet.
Feet, that's right, because there's 2 of them. And this pig is very fat.
Fat.
Feet and fat. You ready? Fat. 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 Feet. Feet. Excellent. For synthetic abilities, it's the child's ability to comprehend sentences and narratives and conversation. And again, we can tally ones and zeros and get a percent correct comprehension in a variety of settings. And here are 2 video clips that give an illustration of how that works.
Tell and show, we can't see, we can't see.
I brought my doll.
There's a doll in there for tell and show? Can you tell me about your doll? Tell me so I can see a picture of your doll in my mind, because I can't look at it yet, right, Mom?
You can't look at
That's
Miss
a
Amy.
rule.
That's a rule.
Okay.
Let's peek, and we'll pick something we need to tell Miss Amy, but we can't show her.
Okay, she has brown hair with
What's
bangs.
that?
And the bow.
She was wearing a bow in her hair like you? Is it like your bow, pink and yellow? Your favorite colors?
No. It's orange.
Oh, the doll has an orange bow, and you have pink and yellow bow in your hair.
And she is wearing 2 bracelets.
The doll's wearing 2 bracelets? Oh, I can't
And then
wait to
the
see
rainbow
this.
one in pink and red.
One bracelet is rainbow colored, and one bracelet is pink and red. Is that right? Is that what I should be seeing in my mind, Mom?
Yes.
Okay.
She has blue eyes and the big.
She has big blue eyes. Oh, Kennedy, she has big blue eyes.
She has big blue eyes.
Mommy, she has big blue eyes.
She has big blue eyes.
I think I'm ready to see it now. Okay, let me see. Oh, wow. I didn't see in my mind that she was made from cloth. She's very soft. She's made from cloth. I thought maybe she was hard plastic. So I was seeing that part a little bit different. And you're right. Her eyes are so big, Kennedy. They're huge. She has huge blue eyes.
Big one.
Very big. They're so big that they're huge. Mom was going to say something. What were you going to say?
I'm going to stand on the triangle.
No, stand in the triangle.
In the triangle. You're right.
Start on the bottom, bottom, bottom.
Okay, I will start on the bottom, bottom, bottom.
What you wearing today?
I am wearing my new black sandals with silver flowers.
Those are really neat sandals. I like those a lot. They're fancy.
Thank you. I like them too.
Me too.
You too. And I'm wearing my short pants. They're jeans and they're called capris.
They have a hole.
They do have a hole. They came that way.
They're called capris.
Capris?
Yeah, I like those capris.
Thank you. And a black shirt.
Wait a minute. Does that shirt have long sleeves, Aaron?
No, short.
Excuse me. I was talking to Aaron. Does that shirt have long sleeves?
It has short sleeves.
Okay. Yeah, Mom's talking now because she's in the triangle, so she gets to tell us about what she's wearing. Are you wearing hearing aids?
I hear with my ears. I'm not wearing hearing aids.
I can't hear my ears. I can't hear Mom.
You can't hear with your ears, but when you put your technology on, you can hear.
And I can't hear Mama with my ears.
No, you need to put your technology on, then you can hear. What about your glasses, though?
Oh, I'm wearing my glasses because I cannot see without my glasses. I have to have glasses to see. What are you wearing today, Kennedy?
I'll start on the bottom, bottom, bottom.
Uh-huh.
I'm wearing with the bow on it with my sock.
You're wearing white socks with a pink bow? Those are pretty.
So you're wearing socks
And I'm
and
wearing black pants
You're
and
wearing-
my dress with hearts on and draped. And I have short sleeves.
I see that. If you start at the bottom, you have on pink and white socks. That's what you told us. And black pants. And a black and white striped dress.
I'm wearing the hearing aid and coat and clip.
So you've got a hearing aid in one ear and a cochlear implant in the other ear.
And next we have pragmatic abilities. And these are the use of communication strategies. So we can ask teachers and parents, and we can observe the child to see how often they actually repair communication breakdowns and they're assertive about ensuring good communication. Let's take a look at this video clip to get an example of that.
The Liberty Bell, a bathtub, and a broken pencil to go together. Why did they go together?
Because they are both broken. Broken.
Yes, you're absolutely right. You said they're both broken. What would be a good way to describe it?
They're all broken.
All of them are broken. Very nice. What does both usually mean?
Two.
There's just two of them. So if you had that, you could say they're both broken. But since there are three, we say all three of them are broken. Would you agree that that's a good way to put those together, Mom?
Yes, that's
go
exactly
together?
what I thought.
The dark-haired girl who has a purple bathing suit on, put her over on the right side of the board, all the way to the edge. And put her over on the right side of the board so that the bottom tips of her fingers touch the line that separates blue from green.
Make sure the trunk of the tree, the roots are touching to the bottom of the board.
I think we'd say they're touching the bottom of the board rather than touching to the bottom. How would we say it?
Touching on the bottom of the board.
Touching the bottom of the board.
Touching the bottom of the board.
Okay, I've got that.
And then get the leaf for the top of the tree and put it on top of the tree, please.
Okay.
I mean on top of the branches.
Okay. So I put them on top of it, on top of the tree, on top of the branches. What could you tell me that would help my picture look like yours?
Put it on the branches of the trees. Make sure the what are these called?
The branches?
The branches. Make sure half of them are showing.
Only half are showing. That's a really nice clue. You know what I was thinking of is make sure that the leaves touch the branches. But what you want is you want the leaves down so far that only half of the branches are showing. That is an excellent way of saying it.
And finally, improvements in phoneme production and intelligibility should go hand in hand. So we want to observe the child and make sure that the speech sounds they can say in words are transferred to spontaneous speech. So here's another clip that gives us an idea about that task.
So we've got the rules of the game, how you win, how you move. What's the something else? You alluded to it when you...
If you get the answer right, you get to do a bonus roll.
A what kind of roll?
A bonus.
All right.
So I've talked about auditory training in terms of analytic, synthetic, pragmatic, and eclectic, and you might be saying to yourself, boy, how do we do all that in a session or in a reasonable amount of time? Well, we can do that if we're organized and we realize that not each aspect requires the same amount of time. Here's an example of session organization. I usually start with the Ling 6 sound test, E, A, U, Sh, S, and M, and make sure that the child's CI or hearing aid is working as it should be. So you can take a look at one of the ways you can give the Ling 6 sound test in this video clip.
You ready?
Yes, Mommy.
Listening hands. Thank you. E,
E,
A,
A,
Sh, Oo,
U,
Ta, 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 S, Egg.
egg.
Nice job.
As far as the second activity in the session, I usually spend no more than 10 minutes doing analytic auditory training for a couple reasons. One is the sounds can be subtle and hard to hear the difference and kind of fatiguing. And two, it can be too drill-like, so I try to keep it interesting without being overwhelming. Most of this session would be spent in synthetic training activities, helping the child listen to and identify relevant and motivating functional speech. So we're building language and speech and listening together. And then lastly, pragmatic skills, becoming assertive and using these phrases to reveal a hearing loss and repair a communication breakdown, often have to be taught directly and practiced as children are working with you. And then an important second step is that we make sure the child realizes how much they need to use these in classrooms and in conversations and other situations, all other situations. And so we have to encourage teachers and parents to insist upon the child using these assertive communication techniques. Okay. Well, that's the end of the topic about assessment and intervention of phonological skills. And here are some references related to that topic. And some related readings that can help you see more about how intervention sessions can be run. I hope you'll find this information useful. And that leads us to the end of this talk and a chance to get ready for the final talk of my series, my contribution to the project, and that has to do with speech intelligibility. So thanks again for your attention, and I hope we'll have a chance to talk more about intelligibility together soon.